thank you so much for joining us for this another conversation on MSME Accelerate. This time, I'm going to discuss something which is going to make a lot of people very uncomfortable. See, as a MSME, when we go and discuss, we all talk about building our image by doing some good work. Kaam se hi naam hota hai is the thing that we have been hearing for many years, and that's what everybody has been telling you for all these 5 years. That काम करो, अच्छा काम करो, सबके साथ अच्छे संबंध रखो, and that is what is going to create some great impression for you. What if I tell you that this is not the only thing that's going to get the right name for you? It's very important that in today's digital age and today's very fast moving part, it is very important for you to be presented in absolutely the right way in front of your client, in front of your ecosystem, and in front of the media and the society in general. So it's an absolute privilege for me to have somebody who has been helping many entrepreneurs get their right image, right picture, and the best foot forward on all the social media and the business platform. It's an absolute privilege to have Greeshma joining us for this conversation. Thank you so much for taking out time and joining us today.
So yes, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. And I'm really hopeful that this brings that mindset shift, which is very important beyond being great at what you do. So like you said, that is something that's important. But what is that X factor? Hopefully, we'll be able to discuss that as well today.
So I would like to start with a very standard and a fundamental question. How did you get into this particular space?
Absolutely. So it started back in the year 2011. So I've been doing this for 12 years now. So not too many people still understand what does an image consultant do. So you can very well imagine 12 years back, how the situation was. So about me, I started my career after completing my graduation from Narsi Monji, went on and did my MBA from Wellington, took on a corporate job, the natural progression, so to say. And I was working in the human resources department of an American MNC. But somewhere realized, this job has its very set job description, roles and responsibilities. And I wanted something that's a little more creative and more importantly, where you can really contribute and make an impact to people's lives. And that's when I was really fortunate way back in the year 2011 to stumble upon this concept of image management. I mean, it was such a new concept. And I can share, I was working on some parallel business idea, but everything, all my research kind of led me to this concept of image management. And it was it, I knew it that this is what I wanted to do. This is something that can definitely contribute and make that impact in people's life. And that's when I went ahead and I got certified as an image consultant. And in the past 12 years, been working with various corporates doing corporate programs for their group training, as well as one-on-one coaching for CEOs, entrepreneurs, high potential leaders, so to say, celebrities as well. And that's been our journey.
This thing, when we hear about it, it was all about celebrity. The moment we talk about image, we talk about a celebrity. Right? But how do you recognize? So question starts from why itself.
The why, right? So one thing, the biggest reason, the why is the biggest concern or challenge in any industry today is the intense competition. And today this competition is not just with a company who is in the same city. Today this competition is on a global level. So if you see, when it comes to products or services, it's becoming very easy to replicate it, right? So for example, we've been working with, let's say, automobile brands. If today company A comes up with a certain feature, in a week or two, a month later, company 2 can come up with that. So today product is no longer going to be a game changer because of rapid advancement in technology. It's very easy to replicate that. But what is really going to help you stand out is the softer aspects when it comes to the founder, the leader, as well as the team that's working with them, because that is not something that you can replicate very easily, because each organization has its own culture, each founder has its own qualities, each team has its own qualities, and that is what it's really important to hold. And also with this intense competition at a global level, one thing that all of us are constantly struggling today is lack of time. So even on Instagram reel, which is 15 seconds, we don't watch the entire reel. We decide in 3 seconds if we want to stay on that reel or we want to swipe. So because of this, we are very quick to make perceptions. We are very quick to make judgments, and we're very quick to eliminate people based on small little aspects that we pick up. And that's why it's important that across all touch points, as founders, as entrepreneurs, as employees, we are able to create the right impact, because it's said that you only get one chance to create that first impression, which could very well be your last impression in the minds of others.
Wow, this is very, very intense. But somehow, as a MSME people, we still believe that वो हमारा legacy है. We can basically get along. हमारा product है, जैसे हमारी part है, हमारी जो team की जो intensity है, वो matter करती है. So why do we really need to structure this?
So I'll answer this in two parts. So number one, whenever we work on an individual's perception, one very important aspect is maintaining the authenticity. Now, if you're working in a manufacturing setup, the kind of clients you're meeting in, I wouldn't tell you that everyone has to be in a business suit and a tie. That's not the point. So understand your authenticity, your own personality. What is the kind of people you need? What is the objective? How do you want to impact people? How do you want to create the influence? And your natural quality, what comes to you very naturally. So that authenticity is really important. But at the same time, how do you want to be perceived? Is that in your control or no? It's actually very much in your control. And that's how you can manage. You have to be brilliant at what you do. So this is not a replacement for, not having the best quality products and not giving the best service, not at all. But isko hum samjhate by giving a very simple example. You need substance, and your substance is the quality of your product, your knowledge, your skills, your experience, your expertise. All of that is your substance. But today you need style with substance, which is a reflection of that substance on the outside. So it's not that you're trying to portray something that you're not. You're portraying a reflection of what you are while you are authentic and genuine and real. So the entire process comes very naturally. We're not, many people feel image management means putting up a facade. That's not going to last. That's not going to impress anyone. Short term ke liye shayad chal jaye, but long term for sure it's not going to work. So building on your authenticity, bringing, your best foot forward in terms of your product, your knowledge, your service, but also this finesse or that polish that we need. And that's where you get that style with substance.
Awesome. Amazing articulation. Now, this point needs to be further built up by a few examples. My request is please share how it has helped companies or individuals.
Yes. So, Taylor, since you spoke about celebrities, of course, hame lagta hai that only celebrities are using it, right? So whether Salman Khan, who transformed his image of being human, or today you look at PM Modi, excellent example when it comes to building his personal brand on a global level. But the formula is the same. Whether you use it, I use it, or these big leaders or celebrities use it, this formula is pretty much the same. Of course, they have larger teams who work with them. PR teams are there, stylists are there, people who work with them to do that. But while we are on this process, we have to market ourselves. So I'll just give this example that you are the CMO or the marketing head, and the company is called Me Incorporated. So you are going to market yourself, and I'll give you the tools that everyone uses when it comes to creating their brand or managing their perception. This tool, very simple, but very, very effective. It's called the ABCD model of personal branding or perception management. A stands for appearance management. Your dressing, grooming, self-presentation. Now, a lot of people might feel, why does appearance matter so much? The fact is, you and me, we are an image in the mind of the opposite person. So when a customer thinks of Charu, there is a visual in their mind. When a customer thinks of, founder, there's a visual. So all of us are a visual in the minds of other people. And that's why leveraging appearance management can go a long way. Now, if you think of Rekha, you're going to imagine her in those saris. You think of Simi Garewal, you have the visual of the white sari. You think of Amitabh Bachchan, there is a certain image. So similarly, you and me are a visual in the minds of others. So how do we leverage this power of appearance? So you may look at Steve Jobs, for example. When you think of Steve Jobs, you're going to remember the black turtleneck and the denim. Now, that is also not by accident. There was a lot of thought that went into creating that outfit. And Issey Miyake is the designer who's created that outfit, which worked very well for his industry and his style. Mark Zuckerberg, another example. PM Modi, another example. So people have leveraged the power of appearance to create that impact or that brand recall, right? So that was the first part, which is A, appearance. Second, it's called B, behavior as well as etiquette. So behavior is the silent communicators, right? How you make people feel when you're in their company. So the general relationship building, the rapport building that you do, the do's and don'ts of how you conduct yourself. So there is a misconception that etiquette means being formal. Absolutely not. Etiquette is being respectful. So I know today a lot of MSMEs are also dealing with international customers. So being sensitive to cultural changes, understanding their cultures. How do you deal with different people, their different communication styles, different ways of doing business? All of that will come under behavior and etiquette. Moving forward, C stands for communication skills. Now, communication is your verbal communication as well as your body language. If you have to make presentations, how do you influence people, your email writing, everything is part of your communication. And obviously, that's the key element, whether you're dealing with customers or you're dealing with internal stakeholders, that becomes absolutely critical. And the last tool, D, digital impression. So, Charu, you and me have never met in the physical world, but there's still a connect. There's still the professional relationship that we maintain. It's all because of the power of digital presence. So, your LinkedIn to your WhatsApp display picture, to the kind of status messages, what you're posting on Twitter, who you're following on LinkedIn, everything creates a kind of an impression about you. So when we put the ABCD together, that creates your perception in the minds of others. Beyond ABCD, there's nothing else that you can control. So like I said, 80% आपके control में है ABCD, 20% others' perceptions, others' prejudices, whatever it is, that is not in our control. So might as well focus on what you can do correctly.
Awesome. So ABCD is everybody's going to go back with this ABCD. But parallel, there are a lot of questions which have started flowing in.
Sure.
Aisha wants to understand, what's your approach to learning and self-improvement? Any favorite lesson or experiences that you would like to share?
Lovely. Great question. So when you are in a profession of teaching, you are first a lifelong student. So every day is a learning experience. There are various books that, I like to read. There are various podcasts that I like to listen to. So even some classic books like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, such simple concepts, but something that you can immediately apply to your life. Another classic book that I'd always recommend is Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Simple strategies again, but really how to maintain relationships, how to influence people without using authority. I think these are 2 books that, going to be definitely my favorites, and people should reach out to it. And I do believe that as a leader, as an entrepreneur, this has to be an ongoing journey. You have to be on that path of self-improvement, whether it's your personality, your technical knowledge, all these aspects, something that we have to constantly try and be the best version of yourself with every single day.
Great. Lavanya wants to understand, dealing with feedback can be tricky. How do you turn criticism into tool for development?
Fantastic question again. So I must appreciate the kind of questions that are coming in. So yes, you're absolutely right. Feedback can be tricky. So the number one step is self-awareness. When you are not aware and you're not accepting what are your strengths or your areas of improvement, that is when others, might. Is there something that's come on my screen?
Yeah, I think there is a Zoom is celebrating your
I have no, even before I completed it. All right. So, yes. So, first step, genuinely getting an assessment of who you are. So, when you have accepted, yeah, these are my strengths, you will learn how to leverage that. Similarly, when you've accepted, these are my areas of improvement. So, I've not used the word weakness, I've used the word area of improvement. You have accepted it. Second, when you get feedback, it's not necessary that you accept everything that comes your way. So I have a simple line, a simple strategy that you must use when you get feedback. When someone gives you feedback, all you need to say is, thank you, I shall consider it. So when you say, I shall consider it, you're not saying that I'm going to accept it, but I'm definitely going to consider it. Spend some time, take some time off, ponder on that feedback. Go back to the person and say, I think your feedback was relevant and I'm definitely going to take care of 1, 2, 3 action plans to work on it. Otherwise, reach out to them if it's necessary and say, I thought about it, but I don't really think it made a lot of sense to me. But thank you anyway for reaching out. So you don't have to take everything that comes your way. You need to have a filter, give it a thought, and then move on from there. And third point, when someone gives feedback, please understand there's nothing for them to gain. So it's actually a benefit for us. So if you look at feedback as something that's positive and not really a criticism, I think the way you will take that feedback is going to be a lot more positive, right? So filter it out, know who you are. And trust me, if let's say I'm not great at handling finances, and somebody in my team comes and tells me, you know what, you really need to improve on it. But when I've accepted it myself that, yes, I'm aware I'm, not the best at handling finances, but I'm definitely working on it. So you get it the minute the feedback comes, but you have already accepted it. It doesn't really create any kind of a negative emotion.
Agreed. The next question builds on this, Byron. Yes. Conflict is a part of life. How do you approach disagreements and aim for constructive solutions?
I know. So this is a challenge. So, so my husband's also a corporate trainer. So both of us were going to conduct a program on conflict management, and we had a conflict on the way before reaching there. So I'm sure that even if you're a trainer and you're teaching this subject to the world, we cannot not have conflicts. Wherever there are relationships, wherever human beings are involved, wherever different opinions are involved, conflicts are inevitable. But it's all about how do we manage conflicts, right? So being open to different point of view. So not being too rigid, being open to different point of view. Focusing on what is said rather than how it is said. So many a times, even in our personal life, it's all about how could you talk to me like that? Or I don't like the tone that you used with me. But actually, if we really think about what was said and how it was said, we'll be able to handle it a lot better. And third, we don't have to resolve conflicts the minute it happens. Sometimes just taking time off, reconsidering, thinking about it, calming down your emotions, I think that will also help us manage this. So you can come back to the table and discuss it more constructively. So those would be like 3 tips for handling conflicts. So yeah, avoiding conflicts is not the way. Thinking that conflicts are bad is not the way. Conflicts are actually good because it shows that people want to bring that change or they have a point of view. So you'd rather have people who are able to do that than people who are just there saying yes sir, yes ma'am to you all the time.
Awesome. Anupama has a question that is applied to a lot of them. How can an introvert founder manage relationship with the client as well as their team? Because it doesn't come as naturally to this personality type.
So actually, I would say there are benefits whether you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, or an ambivert. Introverts can make excellent listeners. So even if you're not the best at probably going out and approaching a new client, you can hire someone from the business development or the sales team who's great at reaching out. But once that initial interaction or that meeting is set, you could then come into the play because the tough part is over and your job of being a good listener. Introverts, another huge benefit, if you can ask smart questions. Okay, so some people go out there, all they want to talk is my product does this, my service does this is my company. And sometimes that doesn't work. What you want to really do is listen and understand what are the problems that the company or the client is facing and how you can provide solutions. So if you're an introvert, doesn't mean you need to do all the talking. You just need to ask very smart questions. So if you can go prepared with some questions, about the industry, about their person, something about their hobbies, their interests, which really helps to break the ice. And just by listening, you are building rapport. So you don't have to put in any more effort. You don't have to share too much about yourself. But I truly believe the power of asking right, smart questions and listening carefully can make a lot of difference when you're talking to different people.
Agreed. So the other part that you would look at it particularly is, I just want to build on this other question.
Yes, please.
A lot of times, what you typically understand is that people are not very comfortable about putting the good work that they do also in front of the customer in the right. So sometimes they feel that कोई ज़्यादा दिखावा हो रहा है. That's a particular thing. So what is the point in time where we are talking about doing the right thing and what goes to this दिखावा level? So what's the boundary? Is there some kind of a demarcation?
A tough question, Charu. So yes, I think it's very situational. Of course, when you're meeting people, you need to establish your credibility, right? That's something that you need to do upfront. So it's important to talk about what you do, what you bring to the table. But here I would recommend creating a very specific elevator pitch for that particular client. So an elevator pitch is maybe 30 seconds to 60 seconds, but customized, pitch for the client when you start with them. And of course, whatever questions, etc., any areas that they want to discuss more, you can then choose to elaborate. But in that very short time, you could talk about things like your years of experience, number of clients, number of employees, some, quick success or case studies of similar industries. So when you throw in this information, that's going to immediately get that attention of the client. Your basic credibility gets established. And then they might ask you, so what did you do with our competitor? Or what products have you given to so-and-so industry? And that's when you can go on and elaborate. So practicing a very customized opening would go a long way in establishing that credibility, but at the same time, not speaking too much about what you do. And it's very easy to do that, right? We get carried away and we want to share about what we've been doing. But yes, that's how I would answer that question.
Okay. At this point in time, believe me, a lot of people are going to get confused about what exactly do I need to do.
Yeah, it's part of the journey. So even if today people go back with this thought or this understanding that, being great at what you do is important, but Hindi mein there's this very popular saying, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. So that's why if you are a founder, you're the face of the organization. The way you portray yourself across these different tools, A, B, C, D that I spoke about, that's going to be extremely critical. So you can start with a simple exercise. You can think for yourself as a brand, as a company, what are the qualities or the values that we stand for? So it could be service, it could be quality, it could be timeliness, whatever those. So identify those 3-4 top qualities. Then understand while the brand is projecting that quality, end of the day, it's you, the founder, and your employees who have to really emulate. So the brand is making a promise, but end of the day, it's the employee and the founder that's actually displaying that. And that's for you to understand if you are able to create that impact across interactions. If you're comfortable, you can take this to step 2. Just send a quick message on WhatsApp to your close friends, your family, some professional contacts, and ask them, when you think of me, What are the few words that you associate with me? And that becomes like a little audit that you can do. If this is the brand of my company and this is the perception that I have created, is there a gap that I really need to fill? So that can be a small exercise that you can all start with, and that will be a good starting point.
Amazing. I would like to understand a few of the examples. If you could share some of the work, may not be the name, but the industry and the individuals and how things have changed, but that would help people resonate well with your work.
Sure. So let me share some examples, some recent case studies. So this actually a few years back, we had one of a very affluent family based in Mumbai. So the father was running an extremely successful business in Mumbai. However, the son had migrated to another country, Australia. And he came back after his education, after working there a few years, and then joined the family business. So that means culturally, there were a lot of differences, right? Australia operates very differently. And in Mumbai, the culture, again, the industry they were in, very, very different. So I worked with this gentleman, this young gentleman, on working everything from his communication, how to connect with different levels of people, right? Right from an accounting person to a salesperson to the manufacturing staff, you have to connect with people across. Understanding the cultural differences. So it's not that you have to completely change the way you are, but adapting very quickly to what is acceptable, what's not. When you're carrying yourself for different occasions, so even socially, they are meeting other industrialists, so to say, very affluent family. So how do you conduct yourself there? How you dress to, how you eat to, how you hold your wine glass. We had to work on all these aspects. So that's how we worked on a very customized plan for this young gentleman so that he is able to fit well. He gets more acceptance, he gets more respect from people, whether it was their internal employees or the customers. And that is so important, especially second generation, third generation entrepreneurs, to really establish your credibility. So while you may have got that opportunity because you're born into a family, you have to strive even harder to create that credibility. And that's why all these softer elements, how you communicate, how you behave, how you conduct yourself, that can go a long way in getting that acceptance, respect, and creating the right impact.
Great. One of the challenges that you would see, particularly when people want to go and work in this particular part, is also the very reservation, the very fundamental reservation about approaching somebody and looking at it as mere baare mein kya sochi.
Sure.
I think a lot of times it's not that people don't understand. They understand that we need to change, we need to look at it, but there is still the reservation, right? So what can be the trigger which will basically make them take that action?
See, as a founder, as a leader, what happens is you're constantly, guiding others all the time, which means there's nobody to guide you, right? The more you get senior, you're a leader, there's nobody to guide you. There are blind spots that you have, there are blind spots that I have, which I will never be able to see, but my team is talking about it, my customers are talking about it, everyone's noticing, but mujhe pata hi nahi chal raha. And about this, aspect of feeling embarrassed about reaching someone, nobody today is successful without a coach. If Achrekar sir was not there, Sachin Tendulkar wouldn't have been who he is. So everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs someone to guide them on different facets, because what you can't see in yourself, others can notice, and they can help you figure this a lot faster. Even when we go to the gym, yes, you can go on YouTube and learn about nutrition, you can learn about different exercises, but unless you get a personal trainer to help you, you're not going to see those results. So it's the same thing, whether you choose to figure this out on your own, that's a completely open choice. There's enough material available online, but a coach will give you what is relevant for you. And that is going to speeden up the process so much faster. And it's definitely going to help you achieve your goals and, whatever you are out there a lot faster. Yes.
I want to now bring attention to a very specific topic about the digital part of it. What we have observed is a lot of times, particularly in Indian families and the context, because the kids grow up seeing their parents behave in a particular way, or they get the kind of education, or at point in time some good education, some teachers who teach them certain things. A lot of fundamentals are clear, but still there is a lot of reservation when it comes to moving to the technology or the digital presence part of it.
Yes.
So if you can share some examples of how that building that digital presence has made life very different for the conventional businesses.
That's so true, right? Because today everyone is going to do a Google search about you or your business. So everything from how your website looks to how your picture is on a portal like LinkedIn or on your own website, everything is actually creating that perception even before sending that email inquiry or having that face-to-face meeting. So your digital impression is coming before the actual perception you're able to create as a person. And when I say digital impression, it doesn't mean posting 10 reels a day and, posting all of that. You can post what's relevant for you, what is relevant to your industry. Of course, Instagram can be very different. LinkedIn can be leveraged very differently. You could write blogs, whatever works for you, but that helps you come across as an expert in your industry, right? End of the day, whatever industry you're in, you also want to come across as an expert, as a thought leader. So you can leverage digital even for this aspect. So understand, again, this you can start with a simple Google search, put your company name or put your name on Google, see what pops up about you, and again, go back to that exercise, whether if from a customer's perspective, is it falling in line with what they expect out of you, the values that your company and your team would like to project. So definitely digital. And like I said, even WhatsApp display picture. You can't be a founder and then have a picture, with a beer bottle on Goa and the beaches. May not be relevant if your clients might also be watching or chatting with you on WhatsApp. So just being mindful of these different touch points, whether it's WhatsApp, LinkedIn, your own company website, and just checking whether it's able to send that same message that you want your brand to create.
Thank you. I think this is a very important starting point for all of us.
Yes.
Look at it. So ABCD is the first thing that we are doing. Second thing, we have looked at how we can do a basic audit by reaching out to our friends and saying where do we stand. And third thing is also about saying where do we stand digitally. My question to you here, Greeshma, is that when I look at this particular subject and the conversation that we talk about, it talks about various aspects of your business and various aspects of your presence, your building that particular image, the credibility. We have discussed about the why part of it, right? Now I will come to the when part of it. What is the when? When should any particular entrepreneur engage in this particular activity?
As soon as possible. And I'm not saying this because I want to increase my revenue, but I'm telling you these are life skills. How to walk, how to eat, how to carry yourself, the body language when you're communicating, using your voice for the right impact. These are simple skills that all of us need. So even today, I'm coaching, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds on dining etiquette, but I honestly believe this should have been part of our school curriculum so that we feel comfortable and confident when we're dining with people, even across, different cultures, different regions, so to say. But however, if you ask me, at least when you're transitioning. So any phase in your career where you're transitioning, that is a great time to bring on an image consultant on board. So if you are growing in your role. So, probably taking on as a CEO suddenly, that transition might help. If you're getting funding and you're growing into a larger company, again, that transition. So any kind of change that you're bringing will need you to evolve on your ABCD, and that might be a good time to get on a coach on board.
Great. So the other part of it, should this be only for the leader, the promoter, or even the entire management of the firm needs to change?
Definitely. See, change comes from the top, right? Top-down approach. That's the only way. We may do 100 trainings for the employees, but unless the leaders are able to walk the talk, it's not going to have that impact. So definitely the founder or the CEO or the leader for sure. But beyond that, everyone who has an impact, whether it's internally or externally, I would highly, highly recommend that they go through this. And, trust me, in my sessions, people come and tell me, I knew there was something missing. It's not that people don't realize. Everyone knows there's something missing, but nobody has spoken to them in a structured way where they can exactly figure out, oh, this was the missing piece in my puzzle, and now I need to start working on it. So it's something that each and every person can definitely, gain a lot out of. And these are learnings that they're going to take for a lifetime. It's not just for that particular job or that particular business. Tomorrow, no matter where they go, they will take these learnings with them.
Great. So now we have answered that why we need to start, when do we need to start. Probably you also answered on how do we need to start. And then the other question which comes in, a lot of time when you look at engaging in this particular part, the people have a lot of questions, particularly what is in it for me? Okay. That is sometimes still not very clear. The reason being, a lot of time when I go to customer interaction and I go and reach out, I know that this is one particular business which I have, right? But when it comes to investing into this kind of parts, right, the returns is something people are very, very skeptical about for a variety of reasons.
Sure.
So my request is that at this point in time, I want you to share some of the returns that have happened. I think let people realize that it's not just about the numbers or building, it also results into the ultimate numbers and ultimately the returns that they are looking for.
Absolutely. So, number one, like I said, you have a better understanding of who you are, right? You have accepted your strengths. And once you accept, it's not just about accepting your strengths. How are you leveraging those strengths to be a better leader, to be a better business person? That's very important. Second, you've accepted your areas of improvement and you definitely need to make that effort to work on it. Self-awareness is very, very powerful, right? So like I said, even in the beginning, being aware of yourself, because otherwise in that routine, just running Monday to Friday, working 12 hours a day, you think you're really busy, but sometimes you need to step out, reevaluate everything from your business strategy to your personal strategy and see where you really need to improve, because we are busy being busy, but unless you get out and kind of work on yourself, you're never going to leverage, right? So it's one of the habits as well. You have to sharpen your saw, and that's when you're able to grow a lot faster. So developing, investing in yourself is really, really important. It's going to definitely improve your self-confidence. Now, who doesn't need that, right? As a leader, as a business owner, there are moments where we doubt ourselves. We have those challenges when it comes to our self-confidence. Are we doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? So when you do something like this, it definitely helps you with your self-confidence. It helps you create the right impact and, more importantly, the right recall value. So wouldn't it be wonderful if your customers, if they have a requirement, they think of you first? You're not somebody who's lost in the competition, but that recall value or that impact that you're able to create in people's minds is definitely going to stand out. So that's definitely important. You can get better respect from your employees and your customers, right? So your respect, your credibility, all of this also gets established. So I think if you can feel good about yourself, become the best version of yourself, get that impact, recall, presence when you're meeting others, I think this, is a very important ROI.
Completely agree. On this great point, let me thank you, Greeshma, for your time today. And I believe that this is going to be a game changer for a lot of the MSMEs. And I believe there will be a lot of people who are now ready to take the action and realize this ROI. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, Charu. It was a pleasure. All the very best to everyone. And I hope you work on your ABCD starting today.